The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River. The views and opinions
Welcome to another edition of Table Topics, Carlos, and you can do your spiel about reruns or whatever. I just can't get that into my head.
And this week you will watch a repeat show for 2 weeks because I will be out of town, out of the country next Friday, so I will not be here next week. So you definitely going to watch this show for the next couple of weeks. Will be a repeat show. And like always, in 2 weeks, on a Wednesday night, we will have a brand new show for you. But unfortunately, next week, on Wednesday night, you're going to be able to see this show again.
Yeah. But you'll have a lot of material when you come back, right? You'll have a lot of material.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of new, probably videos and pictures and stuff for next adventure from Portugal, Spain, France, and Italy. It's going to be a long one.
No, that's cool. No, it sounds fun.
It's going to be a long one. So cool. I'm looking forward to see how. It's been 30 years that I don't go to that side of Europe, the Portugal, like mainland, and I always go to the island. So
cool.
It will be interesting to see how they're doing with something that you want to talk about, the arrows, because the last time that I was there, it was a scudos.
Yeah.
And every country had their own money.
Yeah.
So now it's like, doesn't matter which ATM I'm going to go, it's going to be arrows.
Yeah.
So for one way, it's good for me because I don't have to have all kinds of money on me, all this different country dollars and stuff, bills. But on the other side, for them, it will be interesting to kind of to have the feeling how they reacting. It's been 10 or 15 years that they switched, so no wonder how they feel about.
Yeah, I just think now, I just wanted to talk about it real quick, is that a lot of these currencies are going down as opposed to what they were against the U.S. So the euro used to be at like $1.20. Now it's actually, our money's worth more than the the euro. So that's interesting. What's also interesting is the British pound used to be at around 142 2 years ago. I remember going there back in the 90s, it was like 1.75, so it was not a bargain to go over to the UK. Now the UK is almost at parity with the US dollar. So what does that mean? It means that basically their currency is going down. It's I'm not going to say collapsing. It's losing value.
Losing value.
Yeah, so someone that lives there is seeing that. It's not good for us as well, because now anything that we send to Europe, Asia, Africa, the people can't afford it because our money's so inflated. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and that's all of Europe. So you'll probably notice when you go to France, Italy, it'd be interesting to see how they how they are feeling with that. So and with that, I don't know if people see some of the news in China, but China.
How's the currency in China?
Their currency has always been it's been lower than ours. But China has been having issues with their banks, where they've just basically closed the banks at times. And we know that happened in Canada during that trucker protest or whatever, but they shut down the banks for everybody for a day. So it's just, with all this kind of turmoil in the world, you want to be prepared. We're just become very lazy, lackadaisical kind of society that we depend on other things, but we got to start thinking about being independent on us. So if the bank closes for a day or two because of a cyber attack or whatever happens, what can you do? Your ATM card ain't going to work, your credit card ain't going to work. You have to be prepared for this. So it's just something with the hurricane coming, preparedness. You want to be prepared for it, so you're not standing there like, oh my God, now I
Well,
can't.
I think it's just like when you go on a trip.
Yeah.
Yes, you bring your cards with you,
Yeah,
but you always have cash on you.
exactly.
Because,
exactly.
you know, if you go to a restaurant, you want to eat, you're hungry, you want to eat or something, and your card's not going to work. So what you do if you don't have cash on you?
Yeah,
You're going to be stuck there, you're going to wash dishes or whatever, like we say here.
Yeah,
you know. So I think that people should be prepared for something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I understand that some people and a lot of people live check by check. But here's the thing: if your check it's $100, okay, take 50 and put it in cash somewhere, because it could be the only thing that you're going to have, the only money that you have to buy the next day bread.
Yeah.
To put on your table.
And
Okay?
that's
So people need to be. I always do that. I always have cash. I don't carry cash on me, but I always have cash available to me when I need it.
And it's, I mean, we've been through the storm, we've been the 78 blizzard, we've been through COVID, and it's just, if you look at everything and people really don't pay attention, I get it because we're all so busy, but all these things are coming into play. And one of the last things I'll talk about is the Australia Central Bank or Reserve Bank is bankrupt. They just, that was put out on the news, but we're not going to, we're not going to see it on our channels here, Fox, CNN. They're not going to put that on there. You have to look and see what's happening in their country. But when the Federal Reserve Bank closes, says we're out of money, that's not a good thing. So now the country of Australia is going to bail them out. And all these countries, along with us, we're seeing so much inflation because what happened with COVID, all we did was, it's a funny meme you probably see on there that we're printing money. We've been printing money, and eventually when you print money, there's no more money after a while. So it's just all these things, if you really pay attention to the news and see what's happening, all we have to do is look back and say, anything's possible now. Would you have thought in 2019 that the whole world was going to shut down due to a virus? Never in your wildest dreams would have you have thought that.
That's why we were not prepared. That's why, you know.
And so it's we have to kind of look out for ourselves. There's another thing that has not really been on the American news, but I was listening to the France 24 that there are two or three leaks in the Nord Stream 2 oil pipeline from Russia into Germany, and I think it's Denmark. Now, what is this going to cost now, right? This is another thing. They are already saying, the Europeans, that they think it was sabotage. So we have all these different things coming together that you just have to be alert. I'm not saying it's like Red Dawn. Remember the movie Red Dawn where people are going to come in? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that with all these different things happening around the world, you just have to be prepared.
And we just talked about how people need to be prepared with money. But guess what? Another big thing that people just run at the last minute. Gas. Okay?
Food.
Gas. Food. If you don't have gas on your car, you're stuck. You can go nowhere. So guess what? If all the pumps go out in one day, and your car's on a red, you're stuck. You have nowhere to go. You can't go nowhere. So guess what? I'm pretty sure if you own a house, you probably have like a gallon of gas to put on your lawnmower. Okay? Why don't have a little stock and gas there? Just in case if something happens and you have access to that. And now, even our winters, we cannot predict our winters. Sometimes we have a very easy winter. Sometimes we get hit with snow like every 2 days. So you need to be prepared. And so it's not just prepare with money, but just look
everything.
at something happens. What do you going to need?
Okay. The electric goes out. Do you have candles? You have enough blankets around? We're in the wintertime.
Batteries, flashlights, all this stuff. It's good to have because, the days that we're going through now, we don't know.
Anything's, and it's kind of funny that you mentioned weather because I don't know if I think it was either last year or the year before that, Texas had this really big cold snap, and they shut down their electrical grid because it's not cold there in the winter, but it really was. And people's pipes burst and all this, and people were at the grocery store, and I'm thinking, all the stuff we've been through with COVID,
Yeah.
and the next day you have to go to the grocery store, like,
Yeah.
come on. And if you don't have electric, why are you buying things? You know what I mean? But it's just like you have to have at least a couple days worth of things to be on your own. And unfortunately, people only learn when they get, caught with their pants down. You know what I mean? That's when they'll learn, and next time you won't.
And guess what? And food-wise, the canned goods can last a long time.
Yep.
Canned goods, it's always good to have at home. And today you can buy anything on canned goods. You can have soups, you can have meats, you can have so much stuff in canned goods. And if you stock them a little bit, for that rainy day that you cannot get out of the house, believe me, that can could make a big difference on your day.
Oh, unless you want to lose weight. I mean, don't get any canned goods, right? And you go through 3 or 4 days.
No,
you
want. So if you skip the breads, then you will do fine. You will lose the pounds.
Yeah.
Especially those Portuguese rolls.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but yeah, I just, with all the different, it seems like every day there's something new coming out. We all know, I think even just people common sense wise, we know the housing market is not sustainable. For a block from me, a new colonial house, no garage, not that big of a yard, just sold for $470,000.
Yep.
If you would have told me that again 2 years ago, I would have said, you have to be insane. That's what, like a house on the water and say Wareham or one of these towns, you'd get like that kind of house.
A lot of these houses, they don't even have a backyard.
Yeah,
they have
exactly.
a little land on the side of the house. So one side you can plant a tree, on the other side you can put your driveway. That's it. You don't have a back, nothing, no land on the back of the house. It's like a fence that you probably can see the neighbor changing on the other side.
And anybody knows, back in 2008, sorry, we had that big housing collapse. And things just went from, I remember around my area, 260 the houses were going for, and then they were down to like 190 3 or 4 years later. So if you don't have any equity in that house and you lose your job, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? And you probably know as well as everybody else, they were giving in 2008 mortgages to people that had no money down.
They made it way too easy for people to get in trouble.
And what happened?
Because they knew they could not afford the house they were buying. But it was given to them. And sure, if somebody wants to give me something for free, telling me that's free, I'm going to accept it. But one thing I forget is to read the small print. And on the small print will tell you. It's like all this cars now. Oh, you can buy a car with no money down, with no this and no that. Yeah, they will sell you a car with no money down. But guess what? 6 months down the road, you're going to have to pick up at least 3 times more the payment.
No, it's true.
Buy now, pay at the end of the summer. They're going to give you a free car for 3 months.
I always laugh when I do hear that, because it's like, you're just making me keep having to pay for this car even longer. I don't want to skip a payment. Stop paying it right away. But you're right. And all it's going to do is create a higher payment for you as well. Do you want to pay $800-900 for a car payment? I think some people are now, depending on the type of car. So,
and the interesting thing too, when with the cars market is the dealer never loses money. He will never lose money. You can stop paying your car. He's not going to lose his money. His money. So what he wants is for you to get out of that dealership with a car. Anything, you will do anything for you to get out of that dealership with a car. And then, don't come complain that you cannot afford, because I want my money.
They don't care.
I want my money. So, that's a lot of people get into cars that they cannot afford. They know they cannot afford, but people make it so easy for them to get it. That they end up getting in trouble. And there he goes. You work 30 years of your life to have a good credit, and just this car is going to kill you. It's going to bring you your credit all the way down. And you're going to work another 30 years to bring it up again. And you're probably going to die, and you're never going to bring it back like it was before. Okay, because the credit scores. It's something that I learned. They go up very slow. They give you 1 point. And then they take away 4 points because you use a credit card. Then they give you the next month, they give you another point. But guess what? You already lost 3 there. Because just because of the fact that you use the card.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, people don't realize that. Say you have, like you said, say you have a credit card where you have a $10,000 balance, and you just charge something for $500, but you're going to pay it at the end of the month. It doesn't matter. That fools around with your credit score.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So, because I think it says you can't have any more than 1% of the balance or whatever it is, or it affects your credit score. And people don't realize that. Yeah, it's. People might think, hey, I'm doing the right thing, right? I'm paying my bill on time, but you charging more than this, that affects you. So yeah,
I have a one card that's 15,000. One card, and I used it a couple of months ago to pay. Out of the 15, I used it, I think 6,000 or 7,000.
Yeah, so that affected it.
74 points that came down.
Wow.
74 points.
Wow.
Because I used 50% of the balance on my card.
Yeah.
But they didn't count the 50% of my entire credit.
Yeah.
It's just this card.
Yeah, they don't care.
So in all my 5 cards, I could probably have $50,000 credit.
Yeah.
And
owe nothing on it.
Or nothing, they all clean. But just because in one card I used 50% of the balance, 64 points came down. The next month I paid it all. I paid everything back again. It was just because what I bought had to be paid by card, could not be paid by check, so I had to use the card. So, and I used that particular card because it gives me money back. So I used that card. 74 points that came down, and then went up, and I still lose 3 points.
Didn't go up 74 points, right?
No, came up 71 points.
See.
So I still lose 3 points at the end of the day. And for people that just look at my credit, it's going to say, "Whoa, this is a big drop. What happened here?"
Yeah.
You know, until they realize it was just I used the card, it was not a late payment or anything like that. So people need to be, because this really can, as the credit works, you know, you could, today you cannot fund an apartment. You cannot fund a good apartment.
Exactly.
With your credit.
So you have you have to have at least over 600, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
I see most people.
Yes.
So.
Any bank you want to work something, they want you to have over 600.
Yeah.
They will not, if you have under 600, they don't even want to hear your name.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, we cannot help you.
Yeah, because there's been
and
an
even
issue.
even if they approve you with the 620 or 650, the interest is going to be so high.
Yep.
You know that.
No, it's true.
It would be crazy for you even to afford to pay a balance with this high interest.
And that even applies to insurance, car insurance in Massachusetts. If you have a lousy credit score, they charge you a lot more on your insurance. I never realized that
Believe it or not, they know who you are by your credit.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That's it. It's by your number. They don't even know. It's your Social Security tells you how good you are.
Everything. So I'm going to just talk about one other thing that I didn't discuss with you. So when you talk about that, we hear it's called the CD digital currency, and I think it's called the CDBP or something. But it's like a Reserve Bank of the U.S. would create a digital currency like Bitcoin, Ethereum. China already has that. So if you notice, and I've noticed this more and more now, that some places don't take cash anymore. You have to use a debit card or a credit card. So with that coming in, all you have to do is, everything's so convenient, especially for the younger people. I can say the same thing. I have a phone, I have an app for coffee, so I go in there, you never use cash. But when you switch to these digital currencies like they do in China, you have a credit score on here, but it's like if you said something that the Chinese government didn't like, oh, Carlos can't get on a bus today. You know what I mean? So it's worse than the credit score. So with that, there are meetings in Congress now that are talking about a digital dollar. Every other country's doing the same thing, and it's all in the vein of convenience. You know what I mean? Some people don't have, we have the new term that people are underbanked. So we look at that, why are they underbanked, right? I mean, there's always a reason why different things happen, but that's a way, that convenience of creating a digital dollar will be there, and it's more convenient for people.
Well,
however, there's room for there to be a lot of problems with that, where somebody can just say, I mean, and hey, I agree with this to a point, but say you get a traffic ticket. A lot of people here don't pay them on time. Well, when you have that digital thing, the town of Fall River will just go into the mainframe and go, you owe me $50, it comes right out of your account. They already can do that with taxes. But when you have a digital currency like that, you know, there's always good and bad with everything.
Well, remember one thing: American it's already doing small steps.
Yep.
They're going by the ladder,
Yep.
step by step.
Yep.
Because when you make a deposit
Yeah,
with your phone,
yeah, yeah,
that's one of those steps.
yeah.
That's one of those steps. When you actually don't have to bring your check
Yeah.
into a bank
Yep.
for a teller to put
Yeah.
on your account,
Exactly.
and you do just, you take a picture of the check and they say, I did my deposit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're not doing that yourself. Somebody's doing that for you.
Yeah, yeah.
What you're doing is you're giving this somebody that you don't know who it is, all the information that they want to go back and you know.
It's open for fraud, like you said. Even
Exactly.
somebody, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But, so you're right. There have been a lot of steps. I'll just say one other thing. I knew this older guy. Haven't talked to him in a while, but he went to the bank, and he wanted to take $10,000 out of his bank because he was going to help. His son was buying a truck, so he was going to give the son part of the money because he's like, you know what, I'm older, blah, blah. He was irate, and I never knew this really was the case. The bank wanted to know why he was taking that money out. He had to give an explanation. The guy's like, he's older. He was from
Yeah.
Portugal. You have no right to know what my... And they were like, this is a rule. Under this Patriot Act, during the whole 9/11 thing, that was one of the things with terrorists. He was really mad, but I'm like, see, this is what happens. People don't know when some of these laws pass what the ramifications are, that he was like, no, I don't want to tell you. Well, they're like, well, no, you're not going to get that $10,000 out.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and probably the bank's going to ask them to justify with paperwork and with this, with that. But doesn't matter. I mean, it's your money.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you do with your money whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that will be the day that I go to my savings account and say I want to take $1,000, and they're going to tell me what are you going to use
Well,
for.
it's not. It's at 10,000, but who knows? But I'm just saying all these
Or
different.
even 10,000.
Yeah.
Or even 10,000. You
I mean,
know.
most people wouldn't know that. I never knew
And
it.
that's
because-
another thing that I like to do once in a while. I will say like every 5 years, 6 years, I change my savings.
Yeah.
I change my savings.
Yeah. Well,
I go from one bank to another.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say I mean, and probably most people don't know this or don't know this, is that if your money sits in a bank account for like 3 or 4 years with nothing happening, say you put
Yes.
$50 in there, nothing happens, the state's already saying this is unclaimed.
Exactly.
Money,
Exactly. Yeah. No, I had
So-
I had one bank one time, and to tell you the truth, we forgot about that money there because we thought that we had to take all the money there, but to leave the account open, we left some money there.
Yeah.
Okay. But because we were not working with that bank no more, I got a letter.
Yeah.
And I went on the bank because they said if you don't return this letter signed, the state, the government's going to take the money that you have on this account. And now I was like, I don't even remember how much money I have this account. So I went to the bank with my wife because we were both on that savings. I went there and we had like $800 still there.
Still.
Okay, so we had to sign the paper so the government don't
doesn't
come
take your
and
$800. Yeah,
take it
no,
away.
I mean,
you know?
I had it once. I had 50. I mean, and I think sometimes what they're actually looking at, $50, people are going to forget all about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't even think I got a letter sent about that. It's probably, there's a threshold if it's under amount, but $50 leaves you and it goes to the state of Massachusetts. So,
Well,
you know.
I mean, it was probably 10 years ago. I was empty drawers and everything, and I found two bank accounts.
Yep.
And I remember, oh my God, this was the girls. You know, when the girls are in school, they open those pennies accounts and all of that. You know, I mean, probably, I don't know, they probably had like $10
in there,
whatever. You know, but that's how the schools introduced the bank to the kids. You know, you can save. So we went through that. The money was gone.
Yeah,
this accounts were closed so long ago. I said, where's the money? Oh, the government took the money.
So they stole it from little kids. Sheesh.
Well, I mean, they could at least say, oh, this girl is 10 years old. Probably that's what, that's what she has. And that's the only thing she owns.
They're just going like this. All right, next one. So, no, but it is, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way the things are moving, and we're so busy with our lives that we don't realize the changes and why it's changing. We just follow the rules. Okay, now it's changed. Now if you want to have money here, you have to sign in here. We don't even look, we don't read, we sign it. So when we need it, you sign it saying that you give us permission to do it. So it's tough, but very quick.
So you can change that.
Yeah, we have 5 minutes. We're going to stay on the same thing. Okay. Is this because you mentioned the grid? They want to rise 64%.
Yeah, I mean,
where'd that come from?
And that's well, I mean, it's from the war in the Ukraine. It's it's all nonsense. I'm sure. You know what I mean? So they're
I'm
talking
pretty sure
about
it will not pass.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's already passed. It's going to go up like 60%. It's already passed. National Grid and Liberty Utilities are both going up. So I think there was something in the paper that if you were paying, say, $200 last year, expect your bill to be like $360 this year. You know what I mean? So they've already raised it a certain percentage, and they said, be prepared. That's also on National Grid. And people were like, we can't afford this. There were meetings about it. But they said, hey, between the war in Ukraine, there's a high demand now for Europe doesn't have it because they said, no, Putin, we don't want you anymore. So they're going to freeze all winter. So what are they doing? They're coming to America.
So what is, and here's the interesting question is options. What options do we have to let these people go?
I don't think you have an option. You can only fight when they say we're going to put the rate up.
That's the thing we never prepared.
Exactly. Yeah, you have we have National Grid here, New Bedford, Fairhaven, that area, they have Eversource. They're probably the same company, but they got different names.
So, because I know a lot of people went to solar panels. I don't know how that works, and if the people actually can save some money and be another option for these people instead of using electric, using the panels. So
I think solar panels, I have a neighbor that went from like $300 to $90 with a bill. But the thing is, we're in New England here. We're not in sunny Portugal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know how the winters are here. Even if we don't get snow, it's dreary. I think from like October on to January. So how much sun are people really getting? And this person told me that, but in the summertime, I'm like, you're going by the summer. What's going to happen in November?
Yeah.
I mean, when we got like 2 weeks of clouds. So. But yeah, no, there is no alternative. It's also like this, Carlos. Look at the gas prices, right? The gas prices, they almost went up to $5 a gallon here. That's what I think I paid. And then all of a sudden, people complain, and then they go down. Well, they tapped the reserve, the Federal Reserve, gas that we have there. They tapped that, so that probably did lower it a lot. Summer's over, right? So people aren't traveling all over the place. But sometimes I look at there's no rhyme or reason why the gas went up to $5 a gallon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's going to be tough. But we need to be smarter and think about options, second options.
Exactly.
And we need to start being smart about it. So, and this is our show. Like I said, I'll be back in 2 weeks. We will be back in 2 weeks. I hope you guys have a good week.
Yep. Have a good week now.